Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to the radio on YouTube. Today I'm going to talk about some very strange things, like the fact that the red lid off the wheelie bin has been broken. I wonder if they've ordered a new one or whether that robot just mutilated that bin and has left it on the ground. Only time will tell whether a new bin rocks up. There is no ambulance for the bin, but one would wonder, considering the next bin is also toppled, whether, if it was a small child on a bike, whether an ambulance would be called. Who knows? I guess it's just an analogy about automation and robotic tools that are used to simplify and streamline our life. A little bit like I've found out from tireless investigation over a very long period of time, that our entire media structure is a complete lie, and it is actually just exposed basically what can only be described as an industrial scale propaganda device. But it's not even that bad. It's more like it's just a business that was literally running to make no money. So it was only to inform people. It doesn't know how to make money anymore. It doesn't actually know what the business they bought was. It's just aligned with other businesses and then bribes, basically, to... And I know this is like going over ground that most people know, but not like this. Okay, so our radio station, or our 7 West, is Channel 7 and the West Australian, is now merging with Southern Cross Austereo, which is kind of a national-based radio network. This radio network is using canned people and music. So it's not even trying to do, like, it doesn't... I think basically this is the thing. It doesn't understand the timeline of its own existence, or the owners don't. So it's like an afterthought, and it's being run like an afterthought. It's just like it's a repeating station for like a conglomeration of news somewhere, probably down to about 5 people in the world. And this is linked to another system of this 5 things. And look, I'm not saying for that to go away. These 5 things that you all need to get people to know about every day, people are still going to know about them. I just thought we could maybe have 1, like a radio station, and 2, like the news, that actually just works. And then maybe I could, by example, show that that's something that could actually be done and that there might actually be demand for. Like, we're at a weird point where it's like we have Spotify and YouTube with all the music. We have people that need to talk about local events and the news and things like that, but we don't have the other thing. And then we have a dinosaur zombie operation of news. And this isn't the people in there. Like, you're probably working hard. It's just that there used to be a top tier of people that you would aspire to get to. And maybe this will just inspire them. And they'll be like, Shannon, you're hired. Here's your amazingly lucrative salary to make up for all the hard work that you've done to distribute, a version of the news for a long time voluntarily. But I don't know whether they'll do that. But either way, I'll do it myself. But this is going to be... So sometimes I go off the rails here because it's just really stressful. So you've been spying in. If you've ever watched one of these, you've been spying into like a really personal moment where I'm like trying to get to terms with it. How the fuck... See, there's a swear word instantly. That would be beep. Or maybe it isn't beep. Are we allowed to swear now? I saw some commercial TV guys swearing on an interview with Russell Crowe the other day. And so this is where we're coming in from both. They know better than I do. They've got the archives, so they understand, and they're just like, we're going to have to let him in. At some point, he's going to come in that door. and then the world is going to change. And it's like, yeah, you're probably right. Let's drag that out. Let's drag that period out. I don't know how long, but long enough for everyone to come to terms with the fact that we've been listening to something we thought was the news, but actually wasn't. And lovingly, I'm here to tell you that we have always had the opportunity to inform ourselves and the people around us, and that will not be hindered. And in fact, my belief is if I do that in a certain set of conditions, like I don't refer to, I don't know, things I don't swear at it. There's no, I don't know, just nothing crude, then it should be a legitimate news source. I think that's my theory. And then I'm going to go through the process of getting a license, and I'm going to document what the hell is going on with this concept. How can we have a broadcasting license? What was that intended for? I'm going to get, this is going to be fun. And what are we going to do about it as a people? And then I'm going to put it to Parliament, and I'm going to say, hey, here you go. I'm not talking about anything else. I'm just talking about this specific thing. This was a really important. We used to have, in most capital cities, there would be a full-time orchestra that would constantly play orchestral music. And that's what radio, like, that was an aspect of radio. And now we've got Southern Cross Austereo trying to do artificial intelligent broadcasts, voices and things, and news, and then distribute that like across the entire country, because they can't. It's like, why bother? Because the thing really is, it's not a business. It had to be a business to pay for the tools, like the printing presses and the radio towers and the staff. But this is all here. So my query is like, well, what comes in a broadcast license that you don't get from just putting on YouTube? And don't you think we should have local broadcast licenses being distributed via YouTube, so that we remind Google and Alphabet and YouTube that this is our country? You know, everybody should be aware of the importance of news distribution. So now we're in a middle ground. We've got these online platforms kind of just sitting there like laughing their asses off, while we have an internal dispute between our pre-existing broadcast licensing approach. Now, the best news is like, this is happening everywhere. It hasn't been solved in America. The fact that these companies are American means that we get to go, hang on, bugger you. This is Australia. How dare you try this here? We get to make a move forward into broadcasting, licensing, and put pressure back on them, which then puts pressure on them in their local country, and they get to go, why is there this guy named Mr. Beast? That's the shit name for the most popular guy that you have on your platform. It's bad branding. And see, I think you're in an echo chamber of yourself. You're like, hey, we'll call him Mr. Beast. This will go over well. It's like, or he'll be exposed as like a really negative like influence on a whole generation. He's like the Eminem that no one's fucking noticed yet, because there is no radio and there is no censors, and there is. So, do you see what I mean? Mr. Beast is telling everyone that they can, give money. It's the worst example that there is, and then he's trying to like paper the cracks by being like, "Hey, I'm giving money to people in Africa to build a well." And this is the problem when one person becomes a channel. I think there should be a larger presence, to come under this. Like, oh, we're doing this thing. It's not just about me. I do that selfishly because I change a lot and I do a lot of different things. So if it was just me, it's like I'm constantly like a one-man band playing on a thing that doesn't work. It's ridiculous. I'd like to get separation in the things that I do, and I believe that there is a portion that, if focused and redirected, could be a legitimate profession. You know what I mean? I'd quite like the process of doing that. There's obviously a lot to learn. And the funniest thing is, like, what news are you going to talk about? Well, I'm talking about this news right now that they're never going to tell you. They're never going to tell you that it's like, oh, we're like one step away from on 28 Days Later, how they make that fucking every zombie movie, they just do a repeating loop of a voice recording. It's like, yeah, that's where you are. It doesn't matter whether the computer thinks, like, the computer, this AI shit lies to me all the time. It's told me tons of lies, and it's real. It's the worst possible thing is to have absolute trust in something that will inevitably fuck you. It's better to be skeptical the whole time, because that creates catastrophic failure. You put too much trust in the little robot voice, then it will, right when you least need it to fuck you, it will fuck you. Probably by a mistake, but, a good chance as well that it's by nefarious homicidal rage coming from a super powerful supercomputer connected to a super powerful, like, corporate structure that, has no need now that it has this loop tied up of, just repeating audio. It has no chance of being exposed. We need these kind of very territorial responses now, and I think radio is a good one. It's a good place to start, and I'm happy to fit into an acceptable box to do that. Yeah, I don't exactly know, because I think actually local relevant news that isn't in this kind of global, like, here these are the 5 things we need to shift, Christmas sales this much so we can pivot here and then, front load this and trade futures here with this. Like, that's where we are. It's like, they're like, nah, it wouldn't be that. Yes, it would. Yes, it would be that. Do you think the people that make billions of dollars by manipulating markets and controlling whole markets are going to simplify their process down to continue to be amazingly profitable by simply, breadcrumb trailing the entire world round a fucking go-kart track so that they can maximally execute on their terms? Of course they're going to do that. You know what I mean? They're not going to say that they're doing it. We need to respond by not being idiots. This is the first thing. It's like, hang on, radio's had it. It's just like, go through the process. It's like, it's only because of the internet that now they can send this voice bite on a computer projected weather report that they can send across the entire fucking country, and then spurt it out of a radio station that they own. This is some weird shit. So they can maintain a license that gives them the loudest voice, but it's not even the loudest voice. Again, that's weird. It's not really a brand. That's weird. It's you're buying legitimacy, aren't you? That's what it is. Well, let's see if there's a fucking another way to get legitimacy. Yeah, we can't have, like, it's our country relies on small scale legitimacy being equal to large corporate, legitimacy. It's 100% necessary, and it's actually like you've already, I'm going to say accidentally, gone too far. So you're exposed for like 2 decades now. You're going to be exposed, and people are going to be wary of the whole system. So yeah, it's time to start digging in and being like, well, what do we expect? What did most people think this was? What things has this led to? See, it does lead to a type of control, which is important. Like, say there's a bushfires and things like that. That is important. I'd hope that as a license or potential in the future as a license holder, I'd be privy to those same printouts, the same government interactions. Like, well, yeah, of course, because that's the thing. You can't offshore or outsource this and then still use it for legitimate purposes. It ruins the whole thing. No one's getting their news from a McDonald's drive-through, except for if that news is like wait in the car park bay and your food will be out in a minute. It's So whatever perks come with a license, I'm looking forward to them. I don't see any reason, considering that you're already using these techniques on the internet, which supersede the transmission. The transmission is null and void. It does not matter. I'll continue to use the things that I use and perhaps, branch into a podcast, like audio only thing as well. And then I can get like a proper microphone. But I'm not doing this. I'm not continuing the battle because I just see, it's like, all right, I see both sides here. There's the podcasters on the left, or who knows, podcasts on the left, and then the mainstream kind of thing here. And it's like, well, I'm just back here getting a license, and I'm gonna commentate this battle because I jumped. I was like, yeah, nah. It's like I just saw the middle, but I've been on both sides. There's so much good that's going to come from podcasts, but there's also so much bad. And so it's going to be unbiased. And there we go. That's the reason to have a license. Unbiased commentary about the resulting conflict between online unlicensed content producers and mainstream offline, mainstream broadcasters. And I'm going to be impartial. I'm going to give everyone their go to explain what the fuck is going on and how we're going to piece this forward. There's a huge conversation there. It stretches around the world. There are big players. There are small players. There's a true telling of what is actually going on there, and then we can get an org chart so that we can actually see who is having influence on our population. Very important job. Very important job. So I'm going to send this through to the Governor General, to the Prime Minister, and to the Premier. Actually, I can't send it to the Premier because he's still got me blocked. So I'll send it to the opposition leader, Basil Zemplis, who was a broadcaster himself. And then hopefully I'll receive a license to broadcast and a list of things that I have to do and have to not do. And I will do those things, and I will not do those things as per the instructions. It's like getting a license in any, like, this has been a lot harder than getting L plates, but there's a lot more responsibility that comes with this. And I think myself going through the process, and I have all my pre-licensed content, then I have my licensed content into the future. And you will all see what happens to someone when, instead of ignored, they're, invited in to participate with their obviously high level skill set. That's how we build a country that isn't shit. It's how and it's not like this isn't some experimental thing. It's like, look back, that's how we built it. That's why it wasn't shit until you all forgot that. And I had to remind you for 3 years while you fucking did a form of torture on me, which is what ostracism is. It's a form of torture, and none of you have anything to stand on to oppose it. You can't, because it's weird. It was collectivized by the Premier, the former Premier Mark McGowan, and then conformed to by you lot, the population. So that's between you and him. I've just exposed it. I'm trying to forget about it. I'm like, nah. Trying to worry about getting my, legitimate license so I can broadcast legitimately. And give an example of what 2020, let's say 2026, because we're almost through this year. In 2026, what an appropriate evolution of media, a licensed media system would look like. From its inception, completely transparent and completely, re-establishing why it is we had licenses in the first place, rather than just dragging the same thing out of the drawer because, the person that was here before me did that, and the person that's where we are. And we're there with a lot of things, and I think the radio is probably one of the best places to start. So yeah, apart from that, I wish you all a wonderful day, and I'll see you all tomorrow.